from Daytona here in the Cup Series, and we are going to have two 40-lap duels 3 times aware here at Daytona. I have two commentators with me tonight. I have Pro Wrangler and Legend. Go ahead and say hello, boys.
What's up, everyone?
And we are going to put on a show for you tonight. At least I know. Well, I believe we will, but I know we will. And we're going to go through the starting lineup for duel number 1. As starting on row 1, leading us to green here in duel number 1, is going to be the 14 of T-Wing. He got the pole, so he's locked in for the pole position in the 500. Just got to make it through the duel. Starting second on row 2, or on row 1 in slot number 2, is going to be the 10 of J Hyper. He is going to be trying to start third in the 500, and going to be starting in the third spot is going to be the 3 of AK Racing. In the fourth spot is going to be the 17 of Fluffy. In the fifth spot is going to be the 37 of Canfield. Sixth spot is going to be the 47 of Matt. And rolling off these numbers, that's where I had to write it down. I'm currently trying to get through this. One guy is not racing, so that's having to bump it up. Sixth spot is going to be the 47 of Matt, and in the seventh spot is going to be Roofer. And as we go through, in the eighth spot is going to be the 22 of From the Back, and rolling off in the last spot in ninth is going to be the 24 of Dean Jones. And we are about to start duel number 1 here in 3 minutes. What do you guys think we're going to expect from tonight? Obviously not a race win on the line for the regular season, but still a lot on the line is trying to start third in the 500.
I think it's going to be a little slow off the start, but towards the end of the race it's going to get a little chaotic, I think. To try to get a good spot at the Daytona 500.
I feel like they're definitely going to try to run, and they're going to run hard, I think. I'm going to go ahead and throw out who I think might have a shot at winning this thing. T-Wing, fast in qualifying. I think he might have a shot. As long as he can keep his forward up front, I think he's going to have a shot at getting there. As we have 2 minutes to the green flag, who do you guys think is going to hopefully try to get their name in the record books as the winner of duel number 1?
I'm going to go with the underdog, number 24, starting in last. I have a feeling he's going to make it all the way up to the top.
I gotta go with the 17. I think he's gonna be back there, stay calm, and then he'll show up and take the win.
Yeah, Fluffy, pretty quick driver, as we know, drafted by Roush Fenway in the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. So he's going to be driving his number 17 forward tonight, as he's going to try to take the win in duel number 1 as well. So not sure exactly what to expect, but we are going to try to get all the coverage for you guys here. Every piece of action we can get covered, we're going to do it. As usual, the top 3 will get interviewed after the race. And duel number 2 is going to be the same thing. We're going to go through the starting lineup and get you guys to where you know everything that is going to happen before duel number 2 goes green from Daytona. As we have 1 minute until everything is going to kick off for duel number 1. And one thing that I'm going to be quite curious about is if we're going to see a lot of outside line at the start. I don't think we're going to see too much of it, but we could. I think we might see some 3 wide towards the end. I don't think we're going to see that towards the start. I don't think everybody's going to be too aggressive with each other, but I mean, I guess we're just going to have to see what happens, and whatever happens, happens, really.
Yep.
And there's one playoff point on the line to the winner of each duel. So we will see how that will go. I do believe there was one playoff point to the pole sitter as well. So T-Wing already got one playoff point on the board. We're going to see who's going to snag the other two here from the duels. And tomorrow night, the Truck Series is going to be taking the green flag in the season from Daytona. And they're also going to be running Atlanta tomorrow. So 2 races for the Truck Series. Probably going to be action-packed.
Yeah, the Truck Series is going to be interesting because anyone in the league can race in the Truck Series. It's going to be very interesting.
You guys broadcasting already?
Yeah, we're already going.
Okay. They're getting ready to send the invites right now, so the race should be getting ready to go.
Alright, appreciate it.
Will you make sure... Do you have a big destroyer?
I do not at the moment, no. Oh, you're talking about on the friends list? Yeah, I probably have them on my friends list. Let me... So invite him to the race as well? Yeah. Alrighty. I've already gone through the start lineup and everything, so...
Alright, cool. Man, I'm looking forward to this start of the Giggity racing season.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about, we're not sure, you know, high side and low side, we're not sure which lane's going to prevail the most, but...
Man, I think it just matters kind of, not necessarily the amount of cars on the inside, but which cars are there. After looking at the lineup, I'm seeing a few people that they struggle a little more to hold the line. Canfield, Roofer, Matty3233. He's pretty good at holding the line, but not quite as developed as some of these other Cup regulars. And so I think it's going to probably matter more who's in what line than necessarily the amount of vehicles.
Chemistry definitely does play a factor at Daytona, so we'll have to see who's going to get together and who's going to be able to push to the front.
Did you guys go through picks already on who you guys are thinking to take this first duel?
Yeah, we each picked one. I picked T-Wing. I feel like he's, as long as he can keep his car up front, he might get there and be able to keep it there. I'm not sure exactly. I'm trying to remember voices. I don't know who exactly went with Dean. Dean Jones in the 24, and somebody went with Fluffy in the 17, so...
I went with Fluffy in the 17. I think he's going to be fast today.
I think actually an underdog pick, and this might be partial for me. I have one of my Penske drivers, you know, being the Penske captain. I got from the back. He's actually going to be starting second to last in this, but it's anybody's game with the, you know what I mean, being Daytona in the drafting race, and from the back is really good at getting up there and following the line. So I'm looking at that 22 car as being somebody to watch. Maybe not the winner, but definitely somebody to watch.
I feel like anybody and everybody's gonna be able to have a shot pushing this one.
Absolutely. Okay, so they were getting ready to go, but they had to back out. One of the drivers, the 24 car of the Mick, was unable to or Dean Jones. He was unable to make it into the lobby.
We were talking about the truck series tomorrow, how action-packed that's going to be with anybody from the league being able to get in there and run that.
Oh yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that. So every Monday we've decided, you know, we only have 35 guys in the league, and um, so we tried doing 21 people in the Cup, and we tried doing another 15 in the Xfinity. And the Xfinity is a bunch of drivers that are trying to learn and get better. And there's no better way for them to get better than for them to just drive with some of the more well-developed drivers. You know, the Fluffies, the AK Racings, the people like that. And so our truck league on Mondays is going to be wide open to anybody. Anybody that's good, fast, anybody that struggles to hold the line. It'll make for exciting racing as the more skilled drivers try to make their way through the less skilled drivers. But at the same time, it's a great way for the, I don't want to say bad drivers, but the ones that
Are newer to the
or new to the game. It's a really good way for them to get better, get faster, learn lines, work with some of their teammates that are in the Cup drivers to try to learn how to make setups, pit stops, all of that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we were missing one of the drivers. One of them didn't have a friends list out there, so we're getting ready to go now.
Alrighty.
Invites are going to be coming out here just shortly. Sorry about this, we're running a little bit behind. This is the first time for a few of our admins to be running something like this, so a little annoying for a few, and just trying to get all the kinks worked out for the first points race tomorrow night, so it's taking a little bit, but bear with us. I'm thinking that you're in for some good, exciting racing here at the Giggity Racing League.
Oh, for sure. I mean, with the drivers that we have tonight, I feel like the least that we're going to get is probably some three wide racing in the final laps and possibly a photo finish between these guys. So
I'm actually really excited for this Cup League. I feel like the most of the drivers, both duels, Duel 1 and Duel 2, the Cup Series looks like there's some pretty talented drivers all the way around, and the whole 2 to 3 wide driving, like you were saying. I think that was Maestro saying that we have some talented drivers that can handle their line. So the 2 to 3 wide driving all the way around the track is actually very possible that it could happen, not just a go too wide lift and fall back in line. It looks like there's a bunch of talented drivers that could handle the 3 wide racing.
Yeah, one person that
I think we'll see a lot of it.
Yeah, one person that I feel like he's gonna probably be up towards the front quite a bit, and probably have the attention of most of the viewers is probably going to be Fluffy in that 17 machine, because we know that he can hold his line. We've seen him race before, and obviously if he was to get drafted by Roush, which he was, I mean he's gotta know what he's doing behind the wheel. So
I feel like the season favorite going into this is probably going to be Fluffy in that 17.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I mean, I think one of y'all picked him already, but AK Racing in that 3-car tonight, hands down, he's one of the more talented drivers in this first duel also, and he's definitely going to be someone to watch. And I know that Fluffy Fluffy and AK, they like working together, so whichever one of them seems to be in front, with AK starting on the inside, so good for him. Fluffy's on the outside. AK just might get in there. Alright, accept it now.
Alright, yeah, it's connected to the network for me right now, so perfect timing, I guess. Alrighty, so wait until,
plus Big D.
Alright. So yeah, Angler, whenever you and YT get in here, we'll click live race.
You can actually go live as soon as they get the invite.
Oh, so am I good to go now?
I got it.
Do you guys get the invite?
Yep.
Then yeah, you can go ahead and hit start.
Alrighty.
We're gonna go ahead and Maestro, you go ahead and watch the whole field. I'll try to keep up on the leader so that we know who that is. Can one of you other guys watch the pit road so that we know if somebody's dropping up on the apron after they come out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can watch pit road.
Okay. So we're gonna do one manual lap under caution. It's gonna be just while they get the field lined up. Anybody that hasn't played this game, the way that this works is that didn't work. Oh, B4 should have backed out. Anyway, so the way that this game works is you get the green flag and everybody usually just goes, and it's hard to get a lineup set pre-race, so we make a lineup via fastest times, and so they do one lap under caution, manual caution, where they're all in control of their own vehicle and set their own lineup.
And as these guys are going to get sorted out.
You guys already did the lineup?
Yeah, we already did.
Yep.
Probably go through it one more time. Probably wouldn't hurt here. So leading us to the green, as has been said before, the 14 of T-Wing. He's going to lead us to the green flag here in duel number 1. Starting.
And he chooses the outside. That's interesting.
That's a very surprising choice. I wasn't expecting that. And starting beside him is going to be the 10 of J Hyper and his machine. And starting on the second row on the inside is going to be Fluffy in the 17 machine. Outside of him is AK Racing in his number 3 Ethanol 15 Camaro. And who is going to be starting
37 at Canfield, right next to his teammate in the Matty 3233.
Yeah, those two teammates going to be fighting each other into turn 1, and going to be starting behind the 47 machine is going to be the 22 of from the back, one of your pick to win from the dark horse spot, and to his outside is going to be Roofer in that 20 DeWalt Toyota, and behind him is going to be the 24 of Dean Jones, as they're going to bring us to the green flag here in duel number 1. Here in the Giggity Cup Series.
The 14 shows the outside, but the 10 is his teammate, so maybe there's some planning ahead going on there. And here we get to the line. Well,
Giggity, we're green!
Giggity. I like it.
At 14,
and that is exactly what happened. Looks like the 14 took off, and the 10 just gave him room to be able to drop his teammates.
I mean, that's something that the Storehouse Racing cars have done in real life as well. They've actually dominated Talladega doing that, so it seems to be working for them. As Fluffy already up to the back bumper, single file through the rest of the field at the moment.
Looks like the 3 was going to drop back on the outside, but it looks like the 37.
Now,
I mean,
just so everyone's aware, this is a 40-lap race, but the Sunoco fuel tank only holds about, because this is on 3 times wear, it only holds about 16 to 18 laps of fuel. So there will be 1 to 2 green flag
contact between the 47 and 37. Big one already.
The teammates wrecked each other.
20 car gets involved, as I do believe the caution is out.
Under caution. Yeah.
Caution is indeed out, so 14 still the leader. The 10 of J Hyper is still in second. Fluffy and his number 17 machine still third. Fourth is AK Racing, and fifth is the 22 from the back. As far as the rest of the field goes, definitely I'm not sure as the rest of the field goes, because I think the other 4 of those cars were definitely involved in that. I know what started that.
What's interesting here is if 18 laps of fuel puts you at about 36 laps, fuel for the whole race.
So they're
And
going to
it's
be
40
5
lap
short.
race. So now that they're about 2 laps short, if you were to pit here, you would probably be able to make the rest of the race on just one stop. Oh, somebody lagged out. 14 car.
Oh no, that's the 4.
Oh, that was the 4. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why.
And everybody did pit. It looks like from the back, the 22 stayed out as our leaders pitted.
Back green, 22 car definitely not going to let that 14 car in.
So from the back, looks like he's the only one that did not pit on that restart there. And so just like we were talking about, it looks like the rest of the field decided they could pit and make it on just one more stop.
And it's looking like the 24 is going to get down, and we're going to have a mostly single file field here. Nobody getting too aggressive. 10 car.
Fluffy makes a hard move down to the inside in front of AK.
Very tight move for Fluffy there.
14 is up
10
top all by
chooses
itself.
Yeah, the 10 chose to go with the 22 instead of the 14 outside. That's a little interesting.
I mean, in my opinion, that's pretty smart because there's not many people on that outside lane. So if he were to move up, all I think that it would have done was just drop him to the rear. So smart of him to kind of stay up there right now.
That was a smart move, but if you stay with your teammate at this point, then you have the option to, even if you fall back, you're still connected with your teammate to go up through the field. Looks like everybody's handling it pretty well right now.
Yeah, 24 in the wall hard coming out of turn 2, 37.
37 involved again. As they don't, the caution is not out. They all save it.
So it looks like we got 2 groups here now.
Almost all the cars that were involved in the first caution, almost involved in that one. The 20, the only one that wasn't involved in the second one, that was involved in the first one. But single file for the most part here in the front of the pack, as they are completely spread out for the last 4 spots there.
The 22 from the back's doing a pretty good job. He's the only driver out here that does not have a teammate. Actually, let me correct that. The 20 car of MP Roofer also does not have a teammate. I want to talk real quick. The 17 of Fluffy, although he's driving a Ford and he's driving one of the Roush Fenway cars, he's actually a member of the Hendricks team. I don't know if y'all have mentioned this on the broadcast yet, but Fluffy is one of the top 15 drivers in this game, and he was drafted by the Roush Fenway 17 car, and so although he's driving the Ford, he's not actually one of these teammates here, these drivers up front. In this group, he was one of the
draftees.
He was just in a different team. So he's got a few teammates in the field. The 24 that's in the back of the Mick New York, but he looks to be considerably faster. And again, look out for him to be odds-on favorite to win. Again, one of the top 15 in the whole game. One of the best drivers there is.
It's like the 10 is dropping back to maybe pick up a teammate. Just went from the top 5. He's still in the top 5, but he is not with the top 4 pack anymore.
Sounds like he is definitely, as he comes by me on the front stretch here, it seems like he's definitely out of the power a little bit, and he definitely is, as I think the 14's reeling him in. So possibly a strategy move here for the 10 dropping back to the 14.
And those are 2 fast cars qualified in single car qualifying, first and third. So there's no slouches. You get the two of the fastest cars together, and they can move forward pretty quick.
As a Fluffy right now, I think he's going to go right to the lead 20 car. Not sure who he wants to go with right now.
Roofer, MP Roofer, what a good run for him. Man, I can't say it enough. I was talking about it, I believe it was Thursday we were racing, and we were at, doing a Daytona race that was broadcasted, and Roofer's not somebody that in any other league, which he races a few, he's not somebody that's usually up front. But to see him racing and dicing up with some of the top drivers, man, it's really good to see. I know him and From the Back are really good friends on a personal level, and so I wouldn't be shocked to see the 2 of them work together. And at the same time, you have Fluffy and AK, who are also good friends. So you have 2 groups of friends, even though they're all in different teams, that This is just interesting to watch right now.
Chemistry definitely does play a factor at Daytona, and I mean right now not one car is left by itself on this track, as we have the 24 and the two teammates of Dean Jones, and we have 47, trying to find names, Matty. He is right there with his teammate Canfield in that 3-car pack. We have the 2-car pack of the 10 and the 14, T-Wing and Jay Hyper. And then we have the lead pack, which is 4 cars strong, so I don't think they're going to quite catch the lead pack. 4 cars against 2 doesn't really work that way, but definitely can make an effort to catch them through pit stops of some sorts.
So I want to throw this out there real quick, but 2 of our announcers for this race, or commentators here, we have YT Legend and we have Pro Angler, and they're both going to be running full time in our Xfinity series. And one of the reasons we chose them to be our commentators is that they could get kind of a feel. Again, our Xfinity series is not bad drivers; they're kind of newer to the league and how to run, and so YT and Pro Angler, are you guys catching on to things that'll help you guys come this Thursday for your Daytona race?
Yeah, I'm trying to see what line they're choosing and see what they're running around the track. Don't know when they're going to make pushes, when they're going to bump the cars, see how the cars react. See where to make moves and when you can make moves.
Looks like that 3 car is falling back a little bit from the front 3.
Yeah, 22 giving some solid shoves to the back of that 17 of Fluffy, and I don't think Fluffy's getting too angry about it. But actually, I don't know if the 3 car is losing the draft. Oh, Fluffy on the apron. Is there going to be 3 wide? They're all going to save it. The 3's going to come right back into the picture. Here's the 22 goes to the lead. And I'm not exactly sure, I can't really see a gap, but I'm not exactly sure if the 14 and the 10, T-Wing and J, I'm not sure if they have caught those lead 4. They may have with that contact that they just made, but definitely a shake-up as the 3, who was 4th in the situation, is now 3rd, and Fluffy and the 22 are going to exchange positions here. And Taddy, you were talking about it. AK Racing and Fluffy, both good friends. I mean, right now, AK is going to push Fluffy right into the lead here.
That 22 is up. He's going to fall back in line behind the 3 of them. It looks like that 10, 14 are starting to gain a little bit.
They have definitely gained quite a bit. I'm going to guess that's probably about a 3 or 4 second gap that they gained with those 3 making contact.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I was saying earlier, if you don't have an actual teammate out there, you know, sometimes some of the drivers are just simply good friends. And Fluffy and AK, they've raced with each other a lot. They both know how they are. Same as from the back in MP Roofer. As you see here, Roofer gets below the 3, and the 22 probably could have got a quicker run on the outside, but chose to go with the 20.
24 spun out on the back stretch.
24 spun out. He's all by himself in the back now.
As the 2 teammates of Canfield and Matty, they're both still going pretty strong.
22 in the pits. Now this is something that it was brought to my attention earlier when I seen that the 22 should have restarted 3rd and ended up 1st. He chose not to pit when we were talking about can they make it to the end with that caution earlier, and the 22 was the only one that stayed out. So he might actually still have to make another stop after this one.
Well, I mean, we do know though with the guys like the 17. Oh, 20 with a lag spike, and he's going to hit the 3 of AK Racing, slow him down a little bit. And here come the 14 and the 10 out of nowhere. The 10 and the 14 though, they're both going to hit the pit lane here.
Smart move by the Stewart-Haas though, pitting together. Although they were right there in the run-ins, it's smart now to pit if you can make it. And not get dicey, where when you try to get down to pit lane, you're trying to fight through the traffic and end up causing caution.
the 22 car
believe
from the
the
back,
20
he's going to go one lap down
47
here.
and 37 also going into the
I
pits.
believe he sped on pit road.
He had to. I mean, he went one lap down, so a speeding penalty. I think. If I am correct, that is exactly what bit the 22 on the rear there. As the 47 and the 37 are on the pit lane right now. The only cars left on track: the 17, the 20, and the 24, and the 3. As here comes Fluffy down to the pit lane, and the 3 is going to join him. So, as here come the Stort Haas machines, they're going to come off the track. Looks like they're getting up to speed in 1 and 2.
Now they're probably on the lead lap. So
they're barely on that lead lap.
Let's see where this comes around. Yeah, because the leaders chose to pit right as they were. Oh, did the 20 not pit?
Yeah,
the 20 has not pitted. The 14 is going to go a lap down. It looks like the 10's going to, for the time being at least, until the 20 pits. I don't think he's...
let's see where the 10 and the 14 come out in comparison to the 17 and the 3. Because once the 20 pits, that's going to be for the lead.
Well, here comes the 17. He's coming out of the pit lane right now. And here comes the 3 as the 24's coming in.
Just getting to turn 4.
Here comes the 20 down the pit lane.
The 17 and the 3 probably got on smoother.
Oh, I mean, the 14 and the 10, they were a little closer, so they probably had to be more cautious with their pit lane entry. As looking at it right...
The positive is they also got out and they were connected a little better. The 24 is struggling to come off pits as he spun going into 2 on the apron.
Looking at it right now, the 17, there's a huge gap between him and the 3, and I don't think Fluffy's going to drop back that much because he's going to be thinking in the back of his head.
The 10 and the 14 are actually catching the 3, so Fluffy actually right now is a sitting duck, and if the Stewart Haas cars are smart, they're going to go ahead and just go around that 3, and all the 3 can do is be the tail end of a 3-car tandem.
I mean, the 20's coming off the pit lane right now, but he is nowhere up to near enough speed to be able to get with Fluffy and draft him, and I actually think he's going to fall right into the lap of the 3, the 14, and the 10 right here, so we may have a 4-car chain that's going after Fluffy, and Fluffy is indeed a sitting duck, but I don't think the 22 can get back on the lead lap. No, he's actually just crossed the finish line, as I think he might be barely on the lead lap, but quite a bit far back from the leaders now.
Yeah, although Fluffy came out first, came out in front of all the other lead cars, he's actually got the worst end of it because with him being by himself and all the other cars being able to attach, once they catch him, they should be able to go around him pretty easily.
Yep.
Sometimes it doesn't pay off to do pits that much better than everyone else.
Sometimes, I mean, in cases like that, Fluffy had been thinking in the back of his head that if the 3 doesn't get that perfect line like Cody was going to get, or Fluffy, then there was definitely going to be something that was going to happen. And I mean, that's risk and reward here, really. You know, you get a good pit stop, you hope somebody else does, and you're able to stay in front of everybody. But right now, it's 3-on-1, and I don't think they're going to show any mercy.
Super speedway racing so exciting is just about any other track in all of NASCAR. And if you get onto the pits as well as Fluffy did, and you have as good of a stop as he did, it's going to benefit you tremendously. But because of the fact that it's super speedway where draft is so important, Fluffy is actually he's probably about 2.5 seconds ahead right now, maybe 3, maybe 4. But inevitably, he's in the worst case scenario that you could be.
And I mean, the 3 dropped back to pick up that 20 machine. As right now, it's going to be 4-on-1 now, and for Fluffy, there's no help in sight for him to be able to possibly hold off for this dual win.
Does anybody know if the 20 of Roofer is on the lead lap and actually sitting there in 5th?
He is on the lead lap, I believe. He came out. Fluffy had just passed him.
So we have 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th all working together, and they're pretty straight. A little bit coming off the corners, they tend to get a little dicey, but for the most part, they tend to be pretty straight. And there's no way. They'll probably catch Fluffy by the end of this lap.
They gain like crazy. I mean, from the angle that I was watching from, I wasn't even able to see them and Fluffy on the screen at the same time. But after that lap, I was able to see Cody on the screen for a good 2 or 3 seconds, and I could still see them coming. So. I mean, they are reeling him in.
Yeah, pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get him by the tri-oval, I think.
Yeah, they're right
Fluffy
there now.
just a sitting duck.
Oh yeah. Did they go around him, or is he going to be able to block
14 and the 10 going right out to the outside. He's not. There's no way he's going to be able to block that lane. They were just like a freight
the
train.
three chose to go to the outside with them. Oh, and they left him a sitting duck. They got in front of Fluffy and dropped in front of him and left the 3 by himself.
3 falls back around in front of which one?
Now, if they were, and I'm not going to say smarter, but if they'd have thought that through a little bit more, the 4 of them could have actually gone to the outside and stayed together. And in actuality, they could have got Fluffy, make it hard for him to catch the draft, and taken him out of the race. But because the Stuart Haas cars decided to drop,
Tin in the wall, gonna save it somehow. Nice save by.
17's gonna go for the lead on the inside of the 14. Fluffy gonna go back to the lead, it looks like.
So with that said, Fluffy and AK again get up to the front, and let me reiterate, had they just in a 4-car pack gone past Fluffy, he could have struggled to catch the draft. And instead, the Stuart Haas cars dropped right in front of him and let him have their draft. And now he's able to be back in the lead right in front of him and bring his friend to the 3-car with him.
It looks like they're side by side.
While we were talking about these guys, literally, other than these guys, every other car on track is by their lonesome. The teammates of Maddie and Can, they're split. I don't know exactly what happened that split them up, but the 24 is by himself as well as the 22. So for them, they just got to ride and hope that something happens with a caution. But I don't know. With the way these guys are racing, they're pretty aggressive right now, but I don't think that they're too bad of an aggressive. But the 14 and the 10 right back to the lead.
It actually looks like the 37 has the 24 a few seconds behind, and if he would lift and let the 24 catch, and this is the 37 Canfield, 24 of the Mick New York, if he would lift and let the 37 catch, he would probably have a chance with how dicey the leaders are being in racing each other. They could probably gain some ground, same as the 37 at Canfield and from the back, which I know on a personal level they have some issues, but if they would just work together, they could catch a few
What's happened to Fluffy? I think he got into the wall out of 4. He's still in the wall, is he?
He's in the wall again.
It sounds like he's out of the power, possibly.
Leaders. Did he maybe not take a full tank of fuel, of Sunoco fuel?
I mean, he's back in the power now. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. As I don't know if it's
Stuart Haas is looking pretty good right now.
Oh, the 20 hard into the wall.
MP Roofer smashes the wall. Oh, the 3-car may actually lose the draft, which makes it just Stuart Haas up there at the front. But it looks like the 3-car. Oh nope, I thought he might drop down and pit. But it looks like Stuart Haas has this one pretty well under control.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no way the 3 can catch up at this point without any draft help.
The misfortunate event for Fluffy there. Not sure what happened there. We'll have to try to figure that out after the duel, but it's basically just a Stuart Haas 1-2 pull away right now.
Now, if you're Jay Hyper, there's a playoff point on the line in this. There's no actual overall points, season points, but there's a playoff point. Do you wait till coming off 4 on the last lap and try to make a move and get that playoff point, or do you just go ahead and let your teammate win this one? Oh, and they do have to pit again.
Yeah, they're going in together once again.
There's no way that the 10 will slow down to 55 or 45, whichever one it is. There was no way.
He looked like he was going too fast.
He looked like he came 2 or 3 miles per hour over the limit there, as we have a comment on the broadcast. James Gurr asking where the caution is. And we're going to see what this is going to shake up as the 3. I think that's the 47 actually. I don't know if he's on the lead lap. But the 3, he's in and out of his pit box.
Ooh. The 3 gets ahead of both Stuart Haas cars.
Speeding penalty there.
I'm amazed that there was no speeding penalty.
The 3-car may have just taken a half tank or a full tank of fuel while everyone else did the Stuart Haas cars did full fuel. And I would imagine we're probably down to 10 or less laps. Again, 18 laps of fuel, that puts you at 36 out of 40. I'm saying we're down to probably 4 or 5 laps.
So here comes Fluffy down the pit lane. We're going to see how quick he's going to come out. Keep an eye on the leaders as well, as they're right now coming out of 3 and 4, I believe. Are coming down 3 and 4. It's hard to tell right now. Yep, out of 3 and 4, they're going to go. And Fluffy still in his box at the moment. We're going to see where he's going to come out. And he's going to come out right now, not quite enough to stay in front of those guys. He's going to be quite a bit behind. And AK Racing, just a sitting duck, he's going to go to the high side. And if he's smart, he's going to pull down right behind these guys. And you were asking if I thought that Jay Hyper, if we thought that Jay Hyper was going to make a move and where we thought he was going to do it. Right now, I think he knows that 3 car's back there, and he's going to try to make a move on both of them. I think that it's a smarter move for Jay to just stay right there on T-Wing's bumper and not try to make a move, because one slip up and that 3 car can be going around both of them.
Now, and I'm not going to disagree with that, but the 14 car of T-Wing, now he qualified on the pole for the 500 next week, so just finishing this race, he automatically has the pole, and so he earned a playoff point for getting the pole. The 10 car, now if he finishes behind the 14, he gets to start 3rd, which is right behind his teammate next week, but if he finishes this race in 1st, he still qualifies 3rd for the 500 next week, but he gets that 1 playoff point.
Yep.
As the 22 and the 47 coming off the pit lane, they're going to be tangoed up here.
The 10 and the 14 may actually end up trying to make that work as a team and try to hold the 3 off as the 10 passes him, so they both have a playoff point going into next week.
I mean, that would be fairly smart to do. My thinking on the situation is, though, is if that were to happen, obviously, is T-Wing in that mindset of, if I let my teammate win, we'll both have 1 playoff point heading into the season, or is
T-Wing in the mindset of, I have 2 playoff points going into it? Absolutely correct.
I mean, it really just goes on, is T-Wing going to be passive, or is he going to be really aggressive with his teammate here? But I know one thing, that 3 car, based off of the way he's been raced by those 2, they left him out to dry. I don't think he's going to show any mercy on these guys.
I feel like the 3 car is, if there's a lane open for him, he's going to take it at the end. And that could be a big problem for Stuart Haas if the 3 car gets between them and finishes 2nd in this race. Even a win, that puts him 3rd in the starting order for next Sunday, and that would also separate the 2 of those cars in the starting lineup, putting a kink in their plans for not this week, but next weekend.
Right now, though, he has not been able to get to the bumper. Then again, he may be dragging the brake a little bit, trying not to get right up on the bumper just yet. We're not sure how many laps we have to go, but as I think the laps are, in fact, winding down here, we can't have many to go.
And they're coming up on lap traffic of that 24 car of the Mick New York. And let's see if that maybe makes a kink in their plans, as the 24 could stay low while they go high, or vice versa. There's a lot of variables here, actually, on deciding who's going to win this race.
As other than that 24 car and maybe that 37, they don't have to worry about any other lap cars that are going to be getting in their way today.
And to go with what you said earlier, actually, so the 10 and the 14 are nose to tail, bumper to bumper, and just so everyone out there knows, when it comes to plate racing, if you're not in the first 2 spots, there's really no reason to be pushing the car in front of you. So the 14 and the 10's, oh, as the 24 gets in the grass right in front of the leaders. Does he hold it down low? It looks like he did. Anyways, back to what I was saying, the 10 and the 14, if they can push each other, the 3 pushing the 10 does not benefit him, because you don't have an opportunity to run. You don't really have an opportunity at pushing the 10 anywhere other than maybe spitting out the 14. There's really just overall there's no benefit to pushing it if you're not the first 2 cars in the line. There's no reason to be pushing each other. So the 3 may be intentionally staying back just to get that good run coming off the corners.
I just saw all 3. I'm pretty sure all 3 leaders just got into the wall a little bit. The 3 cars seem to get the brunt of that.
Absolutely.
But 24 right now, probably, while they're both Camaros, and the 24 might be thinking, let me help him, I think he just messed up the 3 just a little bit there by not letting him get down.
The 24 is seeming to struggle to hold his line. And in this series, the 24, was actually the second overall draft pick, but the first overall draft pick of the Hendrick team.
Oh, the 10 car is going to hit the apron there, and that's going to let the 3 right back on his bumper. Now, this is another thing that we have to worry about. Jay Hyper, if he can get that 3 to push him, he might be in the mindset of, I need this playoff point. So it may not come down to that anymore. It may come down to the point of, can the 3 push the 10 around him, and is the 10 going to go? And right now, the 10 is not going.
I absolutely agree. And the other end of that is, there's no telling on the last lap, on the back stretch, the 10 could sit back and get that good push from the 3 car. And the 3 could actually push the 10 to the lead without the 14 and the 10 even talking about it. You know, not even like wanting that to happen. If the 10 sets back a car or 2 car lengths, the 3 could push that 10 to the lead, and the 14 would be a sitting duck.
I got the 37 ahead of him for more lap traffic. See if he just lets them go around.
And now he's going to stay low a little bit.
Canfield tends to be a problem.
It looked like he moved out of the way there.
Canfield is the Ryan Newman of this league. He will do whatever it takes to not go a lap down, but he seemed to do pretty good and get out of the way right there. Respect and kudos to Canfield there.
As I don't know how many laps we have to go. We're definitely getting towards the end.
This may be the last lap because they look like they're getting pretty dicey up front.
The 22 and the 47 are working pretty good back here. It doesn't really matter at this point. They're pretty too far out of the race for the win. As I say that, from the back gets into the wall, but they worked pretty good here for quite a few laps. They ran nose to tail. Sorry to interrupt the race for the lead here. Just wanted to get through the field a little bit more.
They must be getting towards them last laps because the 10 just took a big peek to the outside. And there he is off of 4. Tried to side draft his teammate, but I don't think there was enough there. There goes the 3 down the pit road.
This must be the last lap. That must have been the race.
I think that...
They're still underpowered. That was not the race. But they did get rid of the 3 there with all that incidental contact. The 3 is now out of the picture, so it's going to come down to these 2 cars. So now at this point, if you're the 10, if you have an opportunity to get around the 14, there's no reason not to take it. There's nothing to lose.
The 14 gonna let them by to get that playoff point.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't even. That's good thought process.
I mean, and if you're the team owner, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, if you're the team owner in this case, you probably want to see that 14 get out of the way and go ahead and not get completely out of the way. Obviously, you want to see them bring home the 1-2, but you probably want to see that 10 car get that stage point, or the playoff point, excuse me. That way, going into the playoffs, if both drivers make the playoffs, they have that extra boost of momentum there that can kind of help them out when times get tough.
So that 3 car is a lap down now.
The 3, I believe what happened was when they made contact, I believe the 3 ended up hitting out of sequence. Which I also believe is going to put the 17 back into third.
Yep. Oh, the 14 let the 10 by. I think this is the last lap here.
So they did just as we thought. Playoff points on the line.
I think this
and
is
if this is the last lap, which I think it is, for that move to be made.
Yep.
Now, I want to throw this out there that their team captain is actually also in the chat with them.
Yeah, and I think that's it.
And that was the end.
That's the race.
So I'm pretty confident in saying that the team captain probably yelled and screamed there saying, hey, you let him by.
So your Duel 1 winner, it's going to be the 10 car of Jay Hyper coming in the 2nd spot. T-Wing Jr. coming in the 3rd spot. If I am correct, I do think is going to possibly be the 3 car. Actually, three in here, and let's do some interviews. If you can shoot, can you get
47, 37, 3, and teams there that actually ended up in line pretty well. So we have J Hyper,
And I have sent Fluffy an invite. Right now, working on getting T-Wing and Jay in here. As we will, Alright, so there is J Hyper's invite there. As we're now going to get T-Wing. And while we're waiting on them to get in here.
So,
yeah.
we like to, when you bring the driver in, pull up the driver's car on your screen with the paint scheme there just running.
Alrighty. Gotcha.
What's
Hey,
up?
Hyper. Do you have your party settings set to always allow?
Yes.
I'm going past it twice now. Cool. Alrighty.
Maestro, I'm going to go ahead and let you take the interviews.
Alrighty. Fluffy, you got your audio ready to go?
Yep.
Fluffy, T-Wing, and Hyper, you all got it all set to always allow?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, so Fluffy, pretty eventful race for you there. You rolled off from the 4th spot of the duel. I do believe it was the 3rd spot though on the after the lane pick there from T-Wing, but pretty eventful race coming towards the end there. We saw you get into the wall coming out of 4 when you were running with the 14 and the 10. What exactly happened there?
Just a malfunction, honestly. Forgot to put in my USB charger for my controller and just hit the wall. Not too worried about it. It's only a duel. I'll tackle next week, honestly.
So right now, looking at your starting spot from the Daytona 500, Taddy, do you happen to have that? Based on the inside lane there?
Spot for the 500 is Fluffy will start 5th.
So, I mean, top 5 starting. So, exactly, I mean, you got to be confident with the top 5 starting spot for the 500. How do you feel in that?
Definitely feel good about that. We have a pretty good, Roush Fenway car. I think next week we'll be in contention of winning it next week, hopefully, since we're going to be starting on the inside row. So yeah, man. I mean, honestly, we had a good car, tonight at the duels, and just a little mishap is all, but we can, correct that for next week and move on from there.
All right. Well, Fluffy's gonna come home 3rd in his Roush Fenway Ford. We're gonna move on.
Good job tonight, Fluffy.
Yeah, great job, bud.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to 2nd place finisher. T-Wing, little bit of strategy there towards the end, as far as we could see. Letting your teammate by, you already had the pole, so you had the bonus point, or the playoff point from it. So, a little bit of strategy there. You and your teammate worked great together tonight, coming off the pit lane, making your pit entry. How do you think that that's going to play a factor in the 500 with what you guys have done tonight?
Well, the way I see it, I don't know if Jay Hyper's thinking the same thing, but I feel like it's going to be the same way in the 500. And that wouldn't have even happened if Jay wouldn't have dropped back at the start to pick me up. That's the whole reason that's happened. And I just want to say thank you to him for that.
Big shout out to the Stuart Haas Racing organization there. It looked like T-Wing, like the two of you worked well together. And was that an intentional move at the end to allow J Hyper to get that playoff point, or was that J Hyper just got a run and you allowed it to happen?
It was more intentional. I wanted to let him get that playoff point. I already had mine. I thought, hey, instead of taking both of them, I'll share.
So this is more towards the Giggity Racing League than necessarily that race or racing in general. But so that team racing aspect, is that pretty fun to be a part of and have teammates as fast and as quick as J Hyper?
Oh yeah. Having a fast teammate's always a great addition, and it was a fun race. Again, still wouldn't have even happened if he wouldn't have dropped back for me at the start.
Do you have any more questions for T-Wing there, Taddy?
I'm good with T-Wing.
All right, so T-Wing, congratulations on your finish. He's going to be rolling off from the pole for the Daytona 500. And moving on to the duel winner, who's going to be starting third right behind his teammate and right in front of Fluffy. You were in position all race, and your teammate let you by there, obviously repaying you for picking him up there at the start. So your duel winner, starting third, got to be relieving. How do you feel for the 500? And same thing I asked T-Wing. How do you feel like you and him are going to work together in the 500?
I'm sure we'll, I mean, since we're going to start first and third, I'm sure we'll get to a hot start, and hopefully that continues. Strategy played out perfectly, just pitting when we're just by ourselves and making sure we get bumper to bumper right away to get a draft together and go as fast as possible was really what I was hoping for, and that's what ended up happening. So worked out the best. I mean, couldn't thank him enough for letting me get the point, because he already had one, and I really helped him out early in the race. He got into like a scuffle with some other people, and I was 5th in line and wasn't going to lose any spots if I dropped back and helped them, and we actually caught up to them a little bit to the start, and then they started like making contact, and that's really when we got up to them and got my
J Hyper, after a qualifying on the pole and your team captain and teammate Big Destroyer, he qualified outside pole, and now you winning the first duel, do you feel like there's a target on the Stewart-Haas company on your guys' back?
I mean, I didn't get the pole, T-Wing did, so I'll be third.
No, that's what I'm saying. T-Wing got the pole and
Yeah.
Big D got the second, and now you start third. Do you feel like there's a target maybe on the Stewart-Haas company's back?
I don't know if a target's there, but it's obviously we got fast cars, so I'm hoping that people want to work with us, know that when they work with us, we're going to the front. Just trying to get everyone to work with us, really, for me.
I want to say congratulations, and I look forward to seeing how you and the rest of the Stewart-Haas go with all this momentum you guys have going into next Sunday. And let me reiterate, congratulations to both you and the rest of your team.
Thank you.
So that is going to wrap things up, I do believe, from the coverage of duel number 1. We're going to be green with duel number 2 here in about 10-15 minutes. So we appreciate you guys tuning in to duel 1. We had a lot of fun covering this one. Anything else for duel number 1?
No, that's it. Absolutely.
So we appreciate you guys.
Thank you for tuning into the Giggity Racing League, guys.